Hello everyone. Some wounds grow silently. Some wounds are invisible. Life settles scores most with the things we suppress. This story takes place in the world of a neglected girl, shaped in the shadow of desires for jealousy, betrayal, and revenge. Friends, now I will tell you one of Turkey's most striking stories of love and intrigue. This is a house where love, jealousy, and betrayal come together. And in the lead role is Seniha Paşazade. Are you ready? Because this story is full of scandals and secrets from beginning to end. The series is adapted from Nahit Sırörik's classic novel published in the 1940 seconds. Seniha is born into a noble family living in Zonguldak. But her life is not spent being spoiled. On the contrary, she always remains in the shadow. She grows up in the shadow of her brother Halit. She receives no attention and always remains in the background. This lack creates a fragility and a hidden anger towards life within her. Her mother raises her in a disciplined and controlled manner from a young age. But this discipline suffocates Seniha's free spirit and sows the seeds of the jealousy she will experience in the future. Seniha is always belittled by her mother. Over time, her mother's attitude passes to her brother as well, and Seniha becomes a girl treated like a servant in the house. Seniha was brought into the world as an unwanted child by her mother. Her mother's eyes see only her son. She constantly spoils him, exalts him, and gives him all her love and attention. This situation drags Seniha into secret jealousy and hatred. This hatred and jealousy will later be the end of this family. Years pass in this family environment. While Halit is studying abroad, his mother and father pass away. When Seniha is left alone, her brother Halit returns home. Seniha is a woman in her 40s, never married and described as ugly. Shortly after, Halit marries Mükerrem, whose beauty leaves everyone in awe of her. Mükerrem quickly becomes the favorite of the household staff as well. Seniha once again falls into the position of being the ignored woman. Mükerrem treats Halit and Seniha quite well. She even pities her and wants to help her. But Seniha's feeling of jealousy prevents them from getting closer. Halit continues to constantly belittle Seniha. Particularly, these behaviors cause Mükerrem to pity Seniha and treat her well. However, one ball night, everything changes. Although married, Mükerrem begins to develop feelings for Nuzet, a young and very flirtatious man she met at the ball. Nuzet's only concern is to be with women and live for the day. Mükerrem is just one of the ordinary girls he hangs out with. But soon, Mükerrem falls in love with Nuzet. They start meeting in secret. They begin meeting regularly at a house in the couple's area of Zonguldak. Mükerrem expects a serious relationship from Nuzet. But Nuzet is only after fun. He does not want a serious relationship with Mükerrem. Mükerrem's future plans disturb him. Seniha notices this relationship, and the feeling of jealousy inside her prompts her to action. Mükerrem goes to Seniha repeatedly and asks for her help. She says that trouble has befallen her, that she doesn't know how to get rid of this trouble, and that she needs help. But Seniha does not take her seriously. On the contrary, she pushes her further into this forbidden affair. Under the influence of years of neglect and jealousy, Seniha begins to make revenge plans. The anger she feels towards herself drags her down a dark path. Learning of Nuzet and Mükerrem's relationship, Seniha informs Halit of the situation with great pleasure. Halit doesn't believe it and accuses Seniha of being a jealous, home-wrecking woman. But Halit secretly becomes suspicious too. He begins secretly following Mükerrem's behavior and becomes sure that Mükerrem is indeed cheating on him. He secretly follows Mükerrem, raids the house where she and Nuzet are hanging out, draws his gun, and without thinking kills Nuzet. Then he goes and turns himself in. He goes to prison. Mükerrem blames Seniha for what happened. I came to you for help many times, but you always pushed me away. What happened is your fault, she says. Similarly, her brother Halit also blames Seniha. He tells her that it was a mistake to tell him that Mükerrem was cheating on him, that because of her, his life was ruined and he ended up in prison. There's actually a great contradiction here. Seniha gets scolded by her brother for telling him that he was betrayed, because no matter what Seniha did, she was always guilty in her brother's eyes. If she had hidden it, she would have been guilty. For telling it, she is also guilty. Seniha is very happy to be rid of her brother and Mükerrem, whom she sees as a rival. A great void forms inside her, but also a sense of peace. After this event, Mükerrem is never heard from again. Seniha occasionally writes letters to her brother, but her brother never replies to her letters. Halit always sees Seniha as responsible for him being in prison. Seniha, for the first time in her life, begins to enjoy living without the people who belittled and looked down on her. Now, all the money left from her family is under her control, and she begins to enjoy her free life. For Seniha, the most gratifying thing is that while her brother, who was constantly spoiled, exalted, and provided with every opportunity by her mother, lives a miserable life in prison, she herself, who suffered for years, has now gained her freedom. Kıskanmak is a work that delves into the depths of the human soul and shows the dark face of jealousy and revenge. Both in the novel and the series, the internal conflicts and relationships of the characters captivatingly envelop the viewer. If you are interested in such psychological dramas, you must definitely watch and read Kıskanmak. As you can see, the timeline is not as complicated as in the series. The work Kıskanmak has been heavily altered for the series to get more ratings. More characters and intrigue have been added to the series. Many characters in the series are not present in the original. Now let's look at the events and characters in the series that are not in the book. Nusret's love triangle. In the series, Nusret shows interest in both Mükerrem and Nalan, which leads to a love triangle. Of course, we must not forget Seniha. He constantly gives her the green light too. In the book, however, Nusret's relationships are simpler. There are no complicated situations like love triangles. He is a man who fools around with all the girls he likes. He never allows emotional attachment. Let's move on to Mükerrem's emotional turmoil. In the series, Mükerrem experiences emotional turmoil with both Halit and Nusret. She married Halit out of jealousy over his cousin Nalan. In the book, however, Mükerrem's emotional state is much simpler and one-dimensional. Emotional complexities are less. She married Halit but is not in love with him. She fell in love with Nusret. There's no character like his cousin Alan in the original work. Let's move on to Seniha. In the series, Seniha externalizes her emotional reactions. For example, her efforts to win Nusret's attention are quite evident. She engages in a struggle with Nalan. In the book, however, Seniha's emotional reactions are quite internal and indirect. She doesn't externalize them, that is. She is a very cold and impassive character. Seniha does not voice such feelings or take action. She is an incredibly insidious woman. She also never has a relationship with Nusret. She is an introverted woman who speaks very little. She does not fight like the Seniha in the series. On the contrary, she has accepted the way things are. In general, the characters in the series are very different from the book. Seniha is a dramatic character who shouts, "I exist," with the jealousy she feels for her brother Halit. Mükerrem is a woman caught between Halit and Nusret, stuck in an emotional love triangle. Nusret is a man around whom women revolve, seeking the answer to the question who loves whom. Nalan, on the other hand, is a woman who attracts Nusret's attention, says "I exist too," and overflows with a feeling of revenge. What do you think about this series? Let's talk in the comments. For now, the ratings are going quite well, but there are too many unknowns, love triangles, and events in the series. If they don't bring a little more clarity to the series, they will lose viewers, lovers. Let's talk in the comments. Take good care of yourselves regarding the series and the book. Until we see each other in the next video, goodbye.